Hello and welcome to the Visual Storytelling Podcast. My name is Fred Ranger. I hope you're safe. I hope you are staying creative during this crazy time we're going through. For me, I've been able to travel a bit and I've been able to shoot both photos and videos. And I've been also able to disconnect from that social media, rapid fire, always have to post kind of bagwagon. And I confess, I was definitely part of it over the past few years, uploading my YouTube channel every week or so, also doing this podcast and feeding my Instagram feed and so on and so forth. But over the summer, the pandemic has given us a couple things to think about. And one thing that I realized is that as much as I like to share my work, and I encourage people to print, share, and talk about your work, as creatives, we always have to think about how can we recharge? How can we get in touch with our creative instincts, if I may say? And one way to do it is definitely, at least for me, to slow down, to actually take a break of this madness that we're in, to let yourself be immersed by the situation you're looking at or that you're feeling. And for me, it was a trip to Gaspésie. Gaspésie is at the far east of Quebec, the province I live in. I'm from Montreal, but as you know, we cannot really go anywhere outside of our own country. So it was the first time for me. It is a beautiful, beautiful region. And sometimes we tend to forget that, oh my God, in your own backyard, in your own province, or in your own town even, or your state, or your country, there is so much beauty that is available right here, not that far. We drove there. It took us probably, the entire trip took us like 10 hours driving back and forth, but we stopped along the way. We slowed down our pace. And this is where I really realized that, man, it is so interesting when you take a step back, you look and you feel the things that are in front of you. You're not actually traveling to make photography or to take cool videos. You're actually traveling to immerse yourself in such beauty. And I will put some links down below to my website where you could see a couple shots that I took along the trip. I also made a very slow pace travel video. So I did use my cameras when I was on the trip, but it was not the primary goal of the actual trip. If you look at my, I don't know, the past 5 trips, it was always all about the photography. We went to Portugal. We also went to New York and, all those crazy locations where you want to put out your camera, you want to create some cool content. But this trip, because of the pandemic, because of the whole situation, kind of forced us to slow down. And I really appreciated the actual pace of this trip. And Vicky, my girlfriend who I travel with everywhere in the world, was also on that kind of like needed to recharge feeling. So it was very aligned in terms of where we were at. And again, it made us realize that when you really slow down, and it sounds a bit cliche, and you hear the minimalists talk about slowing down and decluttering and unplugging and so on and so forth. But I truly believe that you have to go at your own pace. If you're Gary Vaynerchuk, you go. And even Gary actually now talks about sleeping during the pandemic and all the great things that it did for him. But the point is, if you are a creative person, if you are someone that actually wants to connect with the elements around you and tell a story, I can definitely recommend unplugging and traveling in your own town, in your own city for the time being, or in your own country or state or province, and really take the time to appreciate the beauty that's in front of you. There is a place in Gaspésie called Percé, and it's literally a big rock with a hole in it, and it seems, just a regular landscape type thing. But when you're there and you hear the actual waves coming from the sea, and also you could see the actual sun rise behind the rock, I was literally having a moment there. And at first, I thought about, I need to run back to the hotel, get my drone, and do all the crazy shots that I would usually do. But I actually found myself for at least an hour just sitting by the water, looking at the sun rising behind the actual big rock called Persei, and just being happy to be alive. Man, what are the odds? I mean, we're one out of 14 billion chances of coming to this world, and you're here and you can see, you can feel, you can connect, you can tell stories. That is a privilege. And that's what this whole trip actually taught me or reminded me. I mean, I knew it was important stuff, but again, being a creative person, getting up in the morning, feeling the elements, being able to connect, and then afterwards, maybe the day after, take out your camera and capture the moment or try to tell your story. But there is a place, there is a time as a creative mind to, again, just be in the moment, just be present. Your photography or the film you're making is going to benefit from that. Actually, as a matter of fact, the time I took at the beginning of the trip inspired me for the rest of the trip. So my photography got a little bit less mechanical, a little bit less like, oh, this is a cool shot, I need to take a snapshot, to what message do I want to convey? What is my purpose here with a camera? Am I just another photographer taking a snapshot of this beautiful landscape? Or am I trying to convey a message about connecting with the elements, about nature, about the benefit of slowing down? And I guess it's more the latter that came to life for me during that trip. I am always interested in learning how you manage to stay creative, especially during these difficult times. I've seen a lot of people using photography and filmmaking as a way to stay sane, myself included. All those Zoom meetings and those WebEx and conferences are, great to stay connected, but there's nothing like connecting with nature or city and other human beings directly. Of course, we need to be very careful to make sure we're not spreading that crazy virus, but that's the beauty of storytelling, is that you can adapt to whatever situation is put in front of you. We're all going through this together. That's I guess the good news, is that it's not just one country or one city or even one continent. It's everyone in the same boat. And I feel that although it is a very bad situation, I'm always trying to see the flip side of things. And I do believe that the flip side of the pandemic, although I don't want to say that this is a good situation. It is pretty bad, and I would rather not have to deal with that. And I'm pretty sure you feel the same. But it kind of brought us together. It kind of literally made us feel more connected, if I can say. And again, slowing down has allowed me to reflect on the situation and think about things like that. Because, I mean, if you just look at it on the surface, it is a freaking bad situation. You're literally confined at home, and you can only use your computer, your phone to connect with people. Although, most of the countries are starting to open up, back up again, and pretty active. But we were all going through this together. We actually came together as one big group, billions of people trying to make an effort. And no, not everyone made the same level of effort, and some people were questioning, and there's some conspiracy theories. There will always be that. But I'm always trying to look at the good side of things. And for me, that whole pandemic has taught me, to slow down, to take a step back, to connect with the elements, to respect the fact that we are all humans and that we have very little impact on big things like that. We have an impact and we can make an impact, but there's some stuff that are greater than us, like the situation we're going through right now. So you have two choices in life. You can be a victim or you can adapt and evolve. I prefer the second option. I know there's some people who find it very difficult. I find it very difficult. I mean, I have a family here and we're all trying to figure things out. I feel like we're building the plane as we fly it, as I like to say often. But again, the good side of this is that, wow, did we have time to take a step back to think about our creativity, to think about what story do we want to tell? And for me, it's becoming clearer and clearer that I want to be someone who inspires other people. And when I say inspiring people, I mean, it might sound a bit cliche, but I literally want to not just have an impact in this world, but I want to leave a legacy. I want to make sure that, I guess that's why I make YouTube videos. That's why I'm recording this very podcast. That's why I'm in roles where I can teach, where I can share, because that's what actually driving me day in, day out. So if you are a creative person, if you have a story to share, I would encourage you to do it. The positivity that I've gotten from sharing what I know and asking questions when I don't know has been so important for my development. I'm now 40 years old. I mean, some people might think this is old. Some people might think this is young. But I think it's a great time for me to reflect on the pace that I want my life to be at. And I don't think it's a fast one. I've been in environments where I needed to be very quick to deliver to either clients, family, and so on and so forth. But for me, right now, and I want the next chapter of my life to be slowing down and to be reflective and to be respectful of people's time, of my health, of people's health, and again, very cliche, but of the planet that we're on. I mean, we have one little round thing that we're all living on, and we are going to have to figure this thing out altogether. So for me, if you are a photographer, a filmmaker, I think this is a thought starter. I'm not saying that this is what you should do. I'm just sharing with you some of my thoughts around the latest couple months. That's why also you haven't seen a lot of videos on my YouTube channel if you're following me. I'll put links down below if you're interested. And you're going to see the pace of my videos going a little bit down, but the quality of the videos and the value I'm trying to bring to the community, hopefully going up. We now passed the 5,600 mark of storytellers, the community I'm trying to build on YouTube. So again, I really want to thank you for listening to this podcast, for subscribing to the YouTube channel, for giving me a couple comments on all the platforms that I'm on, Instagram and Twitter. But again, the goal is not to get likes or to post as much as I can. As I just mentioned, the goal is to really add value in any type of conversations, interactions I'm having with you. And I would love to hear you, actually. So if you would like to contact me, please do it through Twitter. I'm at Fred Ranger. And for the youngsters out there, Twitter is a social platform where you can interact with people. But if you're more an Instagram person, you will find me at Fred Ranger also. And of course, on YouTube, I really invite you to come join the fun. I mean, we are, again, 5,600 passionate storyteller there. We talk about gear, we do travel videos, we exchange information in the comments, some healthy debates down there. So again, I really entice you to join us. And if you would actually give this podcast a 5-star review, I would be forever thankful. Why? Because it helps other people discover it. And if you like what you're hearing, and if you want your friends to also be hearing that podcast, again, leaving a 5-star review and a comment will help tremendously. This is all I have for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Fred Ranger, and I wish you to be healthy, to stay sane, and to stay creative. Cheers.